We've got some data here, and we want to find the best fit line, the line that correlates the text sent by my students in the last 24 hours and the texts received. I actually have it here in Excel, and I've got another video that will show you how to do this with Excel. But in this video, I'm going to show you how to do this with the calculator. So I want to first take this data and make sure everything's numerical, and it is. I did have one data value here. It was originally 100 or more. Or if you had something that happened to be a range, like 40 to 50, you'd want to change that so it's a single number. You just want to make sure that you've got numbers, nice clean numbers that you can enter into your calculator. So I've got my data here. I'm going to go ahead and grab my calculator. I've got the TI-84 plus in front of me, but the TI-83 is going to do exactly the same thing. The very first thing I want to do is to enter the data into my calculator. To do that, I go to the Stat menu, so I click on Stat, I click on Edit to access those lists, and I've already entered my data into L1 and L2. I'm going to show you just how to enter the first couple, just in case you haven't done it before. I'm going to arrow over here to L1. I'm going to arrow down so I'm in that first data position, and then from here I am just typing the numbers and then hitting enter. Then I'll type the next one and hit enter, and so on until I've got all of my text sent there in L1 and my text received there in L2. So now we're ready to run a linear regression. We're going to have the calculator find that best fit line. So I did second and then mode to quit. So I'm in the home screen. I'm going to enter my stat menu again. So I'm going to go to stat. I'm going to do this with a calc. There's also a linear regression test that you can do, which will do something similar and a little bit more. But I'm going to do this with calc. So I'm going to arrow over to the calc menu. I'm looking for this linear regression, and it gave me an example of the type of line that it's going to give me ax plus b. So that one's perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and choose number 4. And it's asking me where my data is. So it's assuming that my x's represent L1. You want to remember that because we entered text sent. So x represents the number of text sent. X list is L1, Y list is L2, and that's our text received. If you have something different here than what you wanted, you say your data was in something else, you can click second and then choose the list that your data lives in. Mine is in L1. My other one is in L2, but if yours wasn't, you can go ahead and click second and then grab the list here from above those numbers. We do want the frequency list to be blank, so I could clear whatever's here. I'm not going to do the regression equation yet, but I'm going to come back and we'll do the regression equation in just a minute if you want to see that as well. We are going to get the equation though. So I'm going to go ahead and hit calculate. Enter. So it went ahead and found the regression for us. So it gives me the A value and it gives me the B value, but notice that this is not giving me the R or the R squared. So in order to do that, I need to turn on diagnostics. If you already have diagnostics on, you are ahead of me. So if you don't have diagnostics on, you want to go ahead and follow me along here. We're going to go into the catalog and hit diagnostics on. To get to the catalog, I need to go second and then 0. So I'm in the catalog. I'm looking for diagnostics on. So I need to just scroll down here, hopefully kind of quickly down to the D's. It's a quicker way that you can do this probably, but I'm just about there. There it is. I went diagnostics on. I hit enter if this is really exciting, and I just hit enter one more time and it says done. So when I run that linear regression again, stat and then calc, and I want number 4 for that linear regression. It's going to give me some more information, which is great. Everything L1, L2 is the same, no frequency list. We'll get to the regression equation to store it here in a minute. I'm going to hit enter. There's what I wanted. So I've got the A and B, the coefficients for my equation, but I've also got my R squared value, 0.93, which is a great R squared value. I'm pretty close to 1. Nice strong correlation. The R value can be positive or negative. This one is positive, which means that we do have a nice strong positive linear correlation. If I were to write out what this equation was, so let me go ahead and grab just a blank screen here. If I were to write out this equation, it would look like this. So y is equal to a, so y is equal to a, which is 0.97, I'll round it to 973. So I've got my a value followed by the x, and then it says plus b, my b is 1.5 0.54. If I keep one more data value here, it's going to be like that. My R squared value is a really nice strong one. You could test this with a statistical test if you needed to. Go ahead and give you 4 decimal places there, and that R value, which can range between -1 and 1, is 0.9866. So I've got my regression equation there. You can also save this with your calculator. So if this is all you need, you can just go ahead and stop here. Be sure and subscribe. I also give you a video. You'll find a video where I do this same process in Excel, and I do it again in Google Docs. So take a look at those as well. If you want to hang in with me, though, I'm going to show you how to do a scatter plot and how to get the equation also into a graph. So to do that, I want to go up to my regression again. So I'm going to go ahead and calculate my regression again, and I'm going to give it that additional information. So I'm going to hit number 4. Yes, still data in L1 and L2, but I want to store this equation. So I'm going to store this equation into a variable. So I'm going to go to my vars menu. I want a y variable, so I'm going to arrow over to the y variables, and I want a function variable. So number 1, I can hit enter, and I'm just going to choose y1 here. So I'm going to store that equation into y1, and I'm going to calculate again. It's going to give me the same information, but it's also stored my equation. If I go to my y equals, right here, y equals stat plot, my equation in all of its glory, all of those decimal places, has been stored here in y1. So it will graph this line for us. I also want to graph the scatter plot that goes along with it. So I'm going to get to my stat plot here. That's second of y equals. So I'm going to go second, y equals, and I'm going to go ahead and put that scatter plot into plot 1, hit enter. I want this one on, so I'm going to hit enter to choose on. I do want a scatter plot, so I'm going to go ahead and keep that one highlighted. Already I've got X list as L1. If you don't, you can do second and then choose your list value. Same thing with L2, second, and then choose your list value. I'm good to go. You can play around and choose a different mark if you want to, but now we've got this plot 1 turned on. If I hit y equals, you'll see, whoops, y equals, let me quit out of here first. I can quit. Now I'll hit y equals. So if I hit y equals, it's got the equation that we saved from the linear regression, and it has plot 1 highlighted. Instead of just going to graph, I really want it to graph where the data lives. So I'm going to do zoom and then zoom data. It might be zoom stat. Let me scroll down. Zoom stat. So I'm going to do zoom and then zoom stat number 9, or you can scroll down and then hit enter. And it gives me a really nice looking graph. So it's giving me a graph of that trend line, and it also gave me a graph of the scatter plot. So some great information there. So again, be sure and subscribe. If you want to see how to do this exact same process in either Google Sheets or in Excel, take a look at my other videos.